frequencyreview.com.
Hello, I'm speaking with Russell Paul, a musician, teacher, former monk, yogi, and a creator of a field he calls sonic mysticism. Russell, with such a rich background, what do you consider your mission in life?
For me, the mystical dimension is the most important. And this means for myself, sustaining it, deepening it, cultivating it for myself. And then with people that I come in contact with and who are interested in this, because I think mystical is really the key to living a fulfilled life. And I don't mean just the lofty mysticism of the great classical mystics of whatever tradition you want to take, but I'm talking about the everyday practical mysticism, being in touch, having a sense of the sacred, having control over the mind, having perspective on our emotions, having the tools to transform negative emotions, all of this, navigating through life to get the best out of every moment, egoic transparency, all these things. And they're cyclical, we fall into these dark periods, but having the tools to keep fresh and keep recycling and keep letting go. This for me is the mystical, and we're all capable of it. And that's my passion in life, cultivating it for myself and showing others how they can do the same. That's it.
And how do you go about showing others? I mean, it sounds like something close to perfection, and yet it's something that we all struggle with on a moment-to-moment basis.
Yes, in some ways I understand what you're saying about perfection. However, it's about keeping the human element. I think that's a kind of perfection, being aware that, we have limitations, but we have tremendous assets. The sense, for instance, that we're not alone, just that awareness and being able to tap into something deeper at every moment. And for me, I have these tools that have come to me through Indian spirituality. And the broad themes I work with, the components, let's say, are meditation and music and the mantra. And these are my main components, very inspired by Indian spirituality, but I'm open to the world's spiritualities. I think Sufism and Judaism and Christianity, they all offer very good insight into it as well. And the way I do it for myself, of course, is through my practice. But then I have these mediums through which I share it with people, and my CDs, my books, my online program, my trips to India. These are ways in which I interface with people. I hear their responses, and I try to develop what I learned as a monk into practical methods that I can help people with, and it's growing all the time. It's not fixed, as conditions change and our environment, our world situation changes. There's a call to make this more innovative every day, every moment, and to learn how to combine practices is also very important to me. Otherwise, we get kind of set in how it should be done. But being grounded in tradition and yet having a certain amount of creativity and innovation is very important, I think, today. And that's how I sort of introduce people, how I do it myself.
It's like you're breaking down the barriers between spiritual traditions. You kind of are a one-person pan-traditionalist. You've worked with Father Beat Griffith as a monk. You have the whole yogic spirituality, and your book Jesus and the Lotus was a fabulous book that I think tries to present this integration of spirituality. What was your motivation in writing that? Was that what it was?
Yes, for me personally, I come from this Christian family, but my mother comes from a Hindu ancestry, so reconciliation was always important for me as a child. I didn't know how to go about it until I met Bede Griffiths, and I became this monk who was Benedictine, but also a yogi at the same time, very unusual place. And like Bede, I especially after coming out west. And by the way, I left the monastery to marry, but I'm still very affected by monastic insights and practice. But coming out west has left me with an indisputable sense that we, especially here in America, I think, more than anywhere else, but the West as a whole, is sort of developing the prototypes for the new millennium. And we're in a very unique position today to, be able to study side by side comparatively the wisdom of the last 2, 3, 4,000 years and forge a kind of spirituality that's not dilettante. Maybe that's the way we began, but we're a very unique species in a way to be able to synthesize this together and create the prototype of a spirituality upon which the civilization of this millennium, a global civilization, will be based. And I think America is an incredible laboratory for such a possibility to happen more than anywhere else. The openness, the interest, and just the conditions of our time. I'm very, very excited by it. So I wrote the book for myself, but I think it's also a response to what is happening today. And also seeing that the tensions between traditions can be a means of growth. It doesn't have to stop us or be a source of conflict, but we can use it as a source of growth and inspiration. And that's the future, I think, interspirituality in that way.
And you emphasize spirituality as opposed to religion.
I think so, in the sense that, religions in a way are the basis of spirituality. However, I think spirituality comes to us right from the time of Jesus. We see that tension between religion and spirit, what he called the letter, the law and spirit. And so we feel that need, our own essence as individuals. We want that sense of freedom and expansion. Yet we need that groundedness, and religion does provide us with many good things, and it binds us, relegare, to bind together. So I think we have to be very careful to acknowledge the value of religion. At the same time, we have to find the way how to prevent religion from being a source of division and conflict and limitation, in a sense. So that's the key for us now. How to develop this sort of strong foundation, but yet this growth and expansion that's not too airy, but is grounded in the fundamentals. And the fundamentals of spirituality, in a way, are embedded in the fundamentals of religion. But we have to do it without being fundamentalistic. That's the key. Right.
What are you focused on right now?
Well, this online program, I've found, I love teaching. I'm an educator, and I really enjoy interacting with people. And although, I travel around the country and do events, there's something about ongoing training, interaction that is kind of lost with a weekend workshop or retreat. And so a couple of years ago, I created an online program, and I'm loving it. My students love it because it gives them the option to interact every day with me, and for me to create a very innovative curriculum that's based on my books and CDs and so on, but is still very unique, a very unique response, let's say, to all that's happening, and to translate a lot of mystical practice into everyday applications. That's the key to this program. I'm loving that part. And I'm, on the back burner, I have CDs and books that I'm working on, but, they're nowhere near publication yet.
I hope we will be the first ones to hear about it.
You bet, you will.
You're leading a pilgrimage to India, is that correct?
That's true, and that's an incredible experience for me, because I feel, pilgrimage is something that's been part of spiritual traditions over the last 2,000-3,000 years. My work is based on Indian spirituality, but there's something about being in India that even whatever you practice takes on this whole other dimension. There's the energy of India. And I find that, and everybody who comes with us finds it very powerful. We've seen an incredible transformation in ourselves and in everybody year after year after year. So that's one of my highlights for the year.
Well, it sounds absolutely wonderful. I would love to join you someday.
And
thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. And thank you for what NC Review is doing. Great work. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
ncreview.com